Ever noticed how the worst kind of manipulation doesn't come with shouting, but with casual little phrases that sound almost harmless? It's that S, the sneaky power of gaslighting. It takes normal words and turns them into silent weapons that chip away at your confidence without you even realizing it. And here is the catch. Those phrases often come from the people you care about the most. The more you believe them, the more you start questioning yourself. It's like your reality gets rewritten, piece by piece, until you're not even sure if you can trust your own memory. Today, I'm breaking down 9 subtle phrases that look innocent on the surface, but are loaded with manipulation. Chances are you've already heard a few of them, maybe even yesterday. And once you spot them, it's like the light bulb moment. So it was just in my head. 1. You're overreacting.
How many times have you heard this? Right after expressing something that genuinely hurt you.
On the surface, it sounds harmless. But underneath, it's pure manipulation. The person isn't trying to solve the issue. They're trying to make you believe your feelings don't matter. It's like they've got a remote control that turns down the volume on your emotions. The real danger is psychological. Hear this often enough, and you start doubting your own reactions. Soon you're thinking, maybe I really did overreact. What was once a healthy boundary starts to feel like a weakness. That's the power of gaslighting, making you believe a natural response is somehow irrational. But here's the truth. It's never about overreacting. It's about control. The person saying it doesn't want to deal with the problem, they want to keep the upper hand. The only way to break free is to remind yourself, your feelings are valid. If it hurt, it crossed a line. Period. 2. That never happened. This one's a gaslighting classic. When someone flat out denies something obvious, they're not just dodging responsibility, they're trying to rewrite your memory. It's like they grab an eraser and start rubbing out reality, leaving you with that gnawing doubt. Wait, did I imagine that? The effect is brutal because it messes directly with your sense of reality. If you start questioning what you saw, heard, or felt, you become dependent on the other person's version of events. And that's exactly the trap. They set themselves up as the only truth teller in the relationship. Picture this. Someone yells at you, and when you bring it up later, they shrug and say, "That never happened." Over time, you stop confronting them because you're tired of the mind games. The antidote? Document your reality. Write it down, talk to someone you trust, keep receipts. Truth needs strong roots if it's going to survive. 3. You're too sensitive. This phrase sounds almost like advice, but it's actually a way to dismiss your emotions. Suddenly, the problem isn't their behavior. It's your reaction. You become the guilty one, just for feeling something you had every right to feel. Manipulators love this trick because they know emotions are vulnerable territory. By calling you too sensitive, they plant the idea that your feelings are flawed. But here, the bottom line. There's no such thing as too sensitive when someone crosses a line. If it hurt, then it mattered. Period. Think of this. You're upset because someone skipped an important commitment. Instead of apologizing, they roll their eyes. You're too sensitive. It was just one event.
Ow.
See the shift? The focus moves from their mistake to your supposed flaw. The only way out is to reaffirm your emotions. If it affected you, that's all the validation you need. 4. You misunderstood me. This one sounds polite, but it's actually one of the smoothest gaslighting tricks in the book. By saying you misunderstood, they plant the idea that the problem isn't their words. It's your faulty interpretation. What was crystal clear suddenly feels like a blur. The reason it works is because it lets them dodge accountability. Instead of owning their words, they pin the blame on your misunderstanding. Do this often enough, and you start to question your own ability to process conversations, which makes you easier to manipulate. Imagine this. They make a cutting remark. You call it out. Instantly you hear, "That's not what I said. You misunderstood me." Notice how the burden shifts. You're suddenly the one at fault for being confused. One way to fight back is to trust your memory. Or even better, keep notes of what was said. It's harder to rewrite a story when you've got the receipts. 5. You're imagining things. This one's brutal because it strikes right at the core of your sanity. The suggestion is clear. What you saw, what you felt, what you experienced, none of it was real. And slowly, you start doubting your ability to distinguish reality from imagination. Psychologically, It's devastating. The more you hear you're imagining things, the more you shrink into yourself, second-guessing your instincts. Meanwhile, the manipulator gains more and more ground because you're silencing your inner voice. Here's an everyday example. You notice sketchy texts on your partner's phone. Ask about it, and the response is, "You're imagining things. You're paranoid." Over time, this erodes trust in yourself. But remember, your gut feelings don't come out of nowhere. If something feels off, it probably is. 6. I never said that. This one's a favorite weapon in the gaslighter's arsenal. When they say it, they're essentially erasing their own words from history. It cuts deep because it makes you doubt one of the most basic things you rely on, your memory. Over time, hearing "I never said that" chips away at your self-trust. You begin to think, if I can't even remember conversations right, how can I trust myself at all? That doubt makes you lean more and more on the manipulator's version of reality. And that's exactly the point. Picture this. They promise to be there for you in a tough moment. Later, when you bring it up, they shut it down with, "I never said that." Suddenly, you're left questioning yourself. A good way to fight back is to create mental or physical records. Texts, notes, reminders. Your memory is stronger than they want you to believe. 7. You're too sensitive. This phrase pops up a lot because it works so well for manipulators. On the surface, it sounds like feedback, but it's actually an attempt to invalidate your feelings. It paints your natural emotional response as an overreaction. Over time, this erodes your confidence in your emotional compass. You start thinking, maybe I really am overreacting. And once you go down that road, you stop expressing yourself. That silence makes abusive dynamics thrive because you're no longer pushing back. Think of it like this. Someone cracks a mean joke at your expense. Show you're hurt and they smirk. Relax. You're too sensitive. The problem instantly shifts from their disrespect to your fragile nature. To break this cycle, remind yourself, emotions aren't flaws, they're signals. They mean something important is being crossed. 8. You're making things up. This phrase stings because it goes straight to your credibility. The moment someone tells you you're making things up, they trying to turn the whole situation on its head, painting you as the storyteller instead of the truth teller. The longer this goes on, the more you start questioning your own memories. Moments that felt crystal clear suddenly get foggy under the constant pushback. Before you know it, you're not fighting about the original issue anymore. You're fighting to prove you're not crazy. Here's an example. You bring up something they said and they fire back. "I never said that. You're making things up." Just like that, the focus shifts away from their words to your supposed lies. The way out, trust your own experience. If something left a mark on you, that alone makes it real and worth addressing. 9. It was just a joke. This one is a classic deflection. After a hurtful comment, the person hides behind humor to dodge accountability. The message is, the problem isn't what I said. It's your inability to take a joke. That flips the script and puts you on defense, as if your discomfort were the punchline. But jokes that land by belittling you aren't jokes. They digs with a laugh track. Impact is sneaky. You start second-guessing your instincts, wondering if you're being uptight. Over time, you learn to laugh along just to keep the peace, which teaches your nervous system that your boundaries don't matter. Real humor connects. It doesn't humiliate. If the joke only works when you ignore your own feelings, it's not comedy. It's cover. Practical move. Call it what it is, calmly and clearly. If that was a joke, it didn't feel funny to me. Offer a boundary. Please don't joke about my family bodywork. Limits. If they double down with relax, ask, what's the punchline supposed to be? Making them explain often reveals there isn't one, just a put down in disguise. Conclusion, so tell me, how many of these phrases have slipped past you before? How many times did you swallow your feelings because someone told you you were overreacting, imagining things, or being too sensitive? Maybe this is your wake-up call. The problem was never how much you felt, but how much someone tried to make you doubt yourself. The big question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Keep letting others dictate your reality, or finally start trusting that inner voice that's been trying to protect you all along. Every time you spot a gaslighting pattern, you take back a piece of your power. And that power can completely change how you show up in relationships. So I'll ask you this. Which of these phrases have you heard the most? And how did it impact you? Drop it in the comments, because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to wake up to. And of course, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Trust me, this is just the beginning.